Something big is about to happen. A violent repricing of Bitcoin is on the horizon. The financial world is waking up, and the institutions, corporations, and even the nation states that once dismissed Bitcoin, they're now scrambling to get in before it's too late. For years, Bitcoin was treated as a speculative gamble, but today, the signs are everywhere. Bitcoin is being reclassified as the ultimate collateral. The biggest players in finance are making moves behind closed doors, and when the levee breaks, the repricing will be sudden and unstoppable. We have tons of news to get to, and stay with us until the finish, because by the end of today's show, you're going to understand why Bitcoin is about to undergo the most seismic shift in its history. Send it!
So the very simple idea is buy 20 or 25% of the Bitcoin network on behalf of the U.S. government, catalyze the development of that world reserve capital network, and then let all the Chinese and the Russians and the foreigners sell all their other assets and buy Bitcoin, and then the money flows into the United States. If you want to put a great twist on it, dump your gold, sell all the U.S. gold, buy Bitcoin, then the trade is free because you could buy 5 million Bitcoin for the cost of the gold. You will demonetize the entire gold asset class, and our enemies hold gold in their banks, so their assets would go to zero. Our assets would go to $100 trillion, and we would control the world's reserve capital network as well as the world's reserve currency network.
As usual, you're painting a grand and vivid picture, Michael, with this kind of stuff.
If you look at the failure of fiat currencies, they don't gradually fail. They fail spectacularly. And this is the premise behind the 1 million Bitcoin call, that it's not going to be a gradual, slow increase to $1 million a coin, but rather a very short and violent upheaval that sends us there in a matter of months, weeks to months. And if you look at the hyper-Bitcoinization landscape, what you do see is more and more countries coming out and mining Bitcoin. Bhutan, I think, is the clearest example of this. They have close to $1 trillion now in Bitcoin holdings from mining over the past 4 to 5 years. So if this is not an indication that hyper-Bitcoinization is coming, I'm not really sure what is. But countries that have excess energy, they can tap into that now and convert that into money and use that money for financing lots of different things. I believe we're also on the verge of countries issuing debt, sovereign debt, to buy Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin bond program, it is going to come simply because the MicroStrategy model has illustrated that this works, and it works very well. And it's just simply a matter of time before a country pulls that trigger and unleashes a torrent of sovereign debt to acquire Bitcoin.
All right, let's get straight into it. For years, Bitcoin was treated like a financial outcast, speculative, risky, a toy for tech nerds and criminals. Right, Menendez? Right? Absolutely classic. But now, the biggest institutions in the world are scrambling to integrate Bitcoin into their financial infrastructure. Why? Because the rules of the game just changed.
AI and crypto czar David Sachs saying his first priority is exploring the possibility of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Joining us right now in an exclusive interview to talk about that and so much more. David Marcus, he previously led crypto and payments at Meta, is the former president of PayPal. He's now CEO of Lightspark, a company he launched in 2022 that's building payment infrastructure on the Bitcoin blockchain. Good morning to you. It's been a while, but it's nice to see you, David.
Good morning.
Let's try to, we're sort of seeing this revolution, at least inside of Washington, it appears, around how Congress and how this administration is going to think about crypto and specifically Bitcoin, and how you think that things might manifest. If you could just sort of walk us through the permutations in your mind from a regulatory perspective, not just on the regulation, but also on the strategic reserve and things like that, how this changes things.
Well, it's a brand new day for crypto in America, frankly. And speaking as someone who tried to launch a project and worked really hard to get it off the ground here at home and having it shut down by the U.S. government, to having conversations about regulatory clarity of Bitcoin strategic reserve, and really doing whatever it takes, frankly, for America to lead in this revolution that will completely rewire our whole financial system, is quite a polarity flip of atmosphere and energy for our entire industry. So, I'm very, very happy and excited for what's coming. I think we're very close to the precipice when it comes to falling behind here. And so it's really amazing to see.
What does the strategic reserve do in your mind?
Well, look,
besides push up the price of Bitcoin.
Well, I think, first of all, if you look at the strategic reserves that the U.S. government holds in gold, we're the number one holder of gold in the world. And arguably, if you think of Bitcoin as a better version of gold, digital gold, why not allocate a portion of that reserve or rebalance a portion of that reserve to the better version? I think, there's just a lot more opportunity for growth and appreciation of Bitcoin than gold in the next couple of decades. So I think it's a wise decision, potentially.
The repeal of SAB 121 was the first major domino to fall. This regulation forced banks to classify Bitcoin as a liability, which made it nearly impossible for them to custody it. But that's gone now. And overnight, banks went from fearing Bitcoin to figuring out just how fast they can offer it to their customers. And that's not all. The FASB rule change now allows companies to account for Bitcoin at fair market value. Translation: companies that hold Bitcoin no longer get punished for price swings. That's why we're seeing corporations left and right eyeing Bitcoin as a legitimate treasury asset. But if you think that's huge, buckle up, because what's coming next makes this look like child's play. In case you didn't know or you missed yesterday, word on the street is that Trump's administration is seriously considering a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
My administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. We'll keep 100%. I hope you do well, please. This will serve in effect as the core of the strategic national Bitcoin stockpile. As you know, Bitcoin stockpile, Bitcoin stockpile, Bitcoin stockpile.
Yeah, or a national Bitcoin stockpile.
You do not! Also, dude, Chinaman is not the preferred nomenclature.
Thanks, Walter. El Salvador did it. Bhutan did it. Now the U.S. is talking about it and working to figure out whether the U.S. should officially hold Bitcoin as part of its strategic reserves. Think about what this means. The United States, the global financial powerhouse, might start accumulating Bitcoin the same way it holds gold and oil.
Last time you were here, you wore red. You said it was by accident. This time you said it was on purpose. So is that a sign of what these centimillionaires think about this election?
Well, that is a sign that Trump won the election, and we think that there is a lot of big news coming. We had our market opportunities and risks meeting last week, and there's a lot of upside from this win.
All right, so these investors are excited about the win and obviously what it means going forward. One thing you said they're excited about is Bitcoin. So I mentioned to one of our earlier guests that BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, it now has more assets under management than their gold ETF. Of course, we know gold is a safe haven. I know a lot of your investors, they hold gold as well. What's their sentiment when it comes to Bitcoin? And are they doing it directly or through ETF?
We're very high on Bitcoin, and we've been talking about Bitcoin for the past few years. We recommend doing it directly because you don't pay taxes if you're doing it directly, so that's a big difference. But we think that Bitcoin could become the next strategic reserve asset. So the country now holds 232,000 Bitcoin. We think that Trump could bump that up to over 1 million.
So you think it would replace what gold was back in the day as like there's going to be a quote-unquote Bitcoin Fort Knox, essentially?
Exactly. We think there's going to be, it's not going to replace, it's going to augment. So it will be incremental.
That would be game over for anyone still in denial about Bitcoin's legitimacy. If the U.S. commits to this, Bitcoin becomes the global reserve asset. Period. Game, set, and match. GFY, Klaus.
Fuck you, Klaus Schwab, and fuck your New World Order. And you and all of your globalist friends, including everyone in this room, can go fuck yourself.
And if you're wondering how this affects the market, let me put it this way. You may have seen, heard of, experienced supply shocks before. Toilet paper, 2020. I don't know how we got through, but you've never seen, witnessed, been able to conceive a supply shock like what happens when a nation state starts stacking sats. And if you think that's bullish, just wait, because it's about to get downright nuclear.
Trust. Trust is the core issue. You have to trust this deposit of information. And I would say that trust is central to the development of our entire Western civilization for the past 2,000 years. Now, if we roll the clock back, I would offer as a metaphor the bank. What is a bank? A bank stores information that people have about their personal wealth holdings. In order for a bank to work, we need to trust the banking system. And the way we do it is the government defines a currency. I can sell my pig, and you can sell your land, and she can sell her seed corn for money into a market. I get the money back, and I have to trust the currency, because if I sell my pig for $10 and I got to buy it back for $100 next week, I'm not going to trust the markets. That's why inflation kills the banking system. If I do have a government that has a stable currency, then I can trade all my assets for money. Money is information. I can put the money into a bank, and the banker is a database guy holding a ledger of everybody's name and their money and protecting their interest. Now along comes a guy that has a lot more time than he has money. He wants to start a farm, so he borrows money, flips a note back, takes the money, buys land, gets pigs, gets some seed corn, plants, creates the farm, sells that stuff in the open market, pays off the interest of the bank. The banker passes back that interest to the depositor. Everybody with assets gets interest. Everybody without assets gets a loan.
I understand.
He was onto something then, and he's onto something now. Michael Saylor, the Giga Chad of Bitcoin accumulation, just pulled off a rebrand for the ages. MicroStrategy dead. The new name? Strategy. It's cleaner. I like that logo. I think I know where this ends, but maybe we'll save that for another time. But without a doubt, they're doubling down on their mission to be the Bitcoin treasury company. Strategy now holds 471,107 Bitcoin, and that's more than 2.2% of the total supply. And get this, because of the new accounting rules, I've been waiting for this. We've been talking about this the past couple episodes. Strategy's balance sheet just got an instant $12.75 billion boost. That's a number so big it broke TradFi's brain. And Saylor, he's only getting started. This isn't about just one company. This is about a shift so massive, so undeniable, that the old financial guard is scrambling to figure out what the hell just happened. And my friends, we're still not even at the biggest story of the day. The violent repricing of Bitcoin is near. But before we bring it home, look at our likes.
Three, four times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp by sharing this video with someone saving in Fiat. Well, we take a moment to recognize our sponsors, the masters of Bitcoin self-custody. That is the revolution, the Bitcoin way. If you're looking to learn how to Bitcoin, how to properly secure your Bitcoin, you might want to head on over to the newly revamped Bitcoin Way website, where you can begin your road to Bitcoin sovereignty today. If you're looking to schedule a free 30-minute consultation, go ahead and use that link below in the show notes. All right, here we go. Now, we've all heard the phrase, gradually, then suddenly. Well, this is the gradually turning into suddenly. For 16 years, Bitcoin has been moving down the risk curve. And now, with institutions integrating Bitcoin, accounting rules shifting, and even the US government contemplating a reserve, Bitcoin's risk premium is getting obliterated. Think about what's happening. Banks can now custody Bitcoin. Corporations can now account for Bitcoin fairly. Governments are eyeing it as a strategic reserve asset. And ETFs are sucking up Bitcoin at a just insane pace. All of these forces, they're converging to do one thing. Reprice Bitcoin as the ultimate collateral. This isn't just another bull run. This is the violent repricing of Bitcoin's role in the financial system. And it's coming.
All prices on everything are falling. The only thing measuring that is Bitcoin. As more and more use cases are being built on top, and other entrepreneurs are racing to this stable and sound foundation that they can build other value to, a ton of value is just going to move into this space. As more and more people start to understand this, and instead of being a hedge against this system, realize, wow, it's repricing everything else, and I'm going to invest more of my time in the new system.
Let me make this simple. The risk isn't holding Bitcoin. The risk is not holding any Bitcoin at all. Roll it.
So you can call it a bubble and you can dismiss it. But the potential of Bitcoin to be the default cash system of the internet and the default savings vehicle of the internet is so extraordinary. I would argue that the risk is not owning Bitcoin, the risk is not owning Bitcoin, if that makes sense. Everyone should have an allocation in their portfolio. And don't try and use the fact that I don't understand it as an excuse. Because most people don't understand how the combustion engine works, and they still own a car. Most people don't understand hypertext transfer protocol, and they still use the internet.
Bitcoin is no longer just an alternative asset. It's becoming the asset, the foundation of the next financial system. And those who don't see it, they're going to get left behind. So the real question is, are you ready? Because the great acceleration is here. You know what else is accelerating on a massive scale? Bitcoin mining, and Mining Disrupt 2025 is just around the corner. The biggest Bitcoin mining conference on the planet, and it's coming to Fort Lauderdale, March 25th through the 27th. Get your tickets today and join thousands of Bitcoin mining professionals and enthusiasts from around the globe for an electrifying experience at Mining Disrupt. See the latest cutting-edge hardware, products, and services that are revolutionizing the Bitcoin mining industry. For over half a decade, Mining Disrupt has been the premier conference and expo exclusively dedicated to Bitcoin mining. Be part of the future and join the movement that's shaping the world of Bitcoin mining. Don't miss out. Head over to miningdisrupt.com and get your tickets today. Use promo code SimplyBitcoin for 20% off. Oh, and the Simply Bitcoin news desk gonna be on site. I'm gonna be there. Nico and Opti are gonna be there holding it down, and we hope to see you there as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure to like, subscribe, and give us a pap by spreading the sound money gospel, and set those notifications because we have a lot more surprises coming your way, like Nico and Samson talking Omega candles on top of a fucking volcano. And set those notifications because Dante has some bangers coming your way this weekend. Stay tuned and keep stacking those sats. Valhalla could come quicker than we ever freaking imagined. Love you guys. Catch you next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, you.